It's like a super beautiful day outside right now, so we're taking a little walk. And it got me thinking more about my manifestations. And you know how I like to manifest shit. So I was thinking about like the manifestation of money. And I realized that sometimes there's this illusion that money just shows up in my mailbox because I post to you guys and tell you that's what happened. But it's not really just that simple. Checks come in the mailbox because I did some sort of research. I have a thing about class action lawsuits and join in on those, and those send me money sometimes. I like to fill out rebates, stuff like that. I also have a really good time looking for federal grants and programs to apply to. So sometimes money comes to me like in a backwards kind of way. Like I found this really cool grant program through PG&E where I'm going to get a free solar panel system put on my house. I totally thought it was a scam, and then I like signed up for it, and it's legit. The process has taken a while, so you got to work for it, right? I had to fill out paperwork and back and forth and this, that, and the other thing. But anyways, we're kind of down to the last of the timeline here, and hopefully I'll be getting some solar panels on the house maybe in the next month or two. So the plan is all of the money that's been in my budget to pay the electrical part of my PG&E bill will now go into a savings account because it does kind of become extra money. I think one of the biggest downfalls that I had in my younger years is the minute I had extra money, I just went out and spent it. One of the greatest pieces of advice I've ever gotten is just because you can pay for it doesn't mean you can afford it. I grew up in a time in which the middle class actually still existed. But I also had children really young, so money was tight for me. When money's tight and you don't get money very often, it's really easy to get a chunk of change like your tax return and want to go out and like blow it on stuff, because when money's tight, you don't get the opportunity to buy yourself stuff sometimes. I believe that we all work really hard for the money that we have, and that you should be entitled to go out and buy yourself stuff sometimes and treat yourself as a reward for all of your hard work. When I had a regular job and I had a paycheck that came every other Friday, I totally caught myself in a trap of like, it's okay. I get paid again on Friday. We'll be fine. Go ahead and spend the money. It really wasn't until I quit my regular job, kind of became self-employed, and realized I didn't know when the next paycheck was coming in or how I was going to pay the bills next month, that finally taught me how to save. Fear. I was scared to death. I was scared to spend any money at all. Living in a mindset of scarcity is not a good place to be either, and having your life managed by fear and anxiety over how you're going to pay your power bill or water bill next month isn't a lot of fun. I didn't like that either. Another thing it taught me was how to run a budget. We really had to cut down on things that we were spending money on, and had to start sorting out things between wants, needs, desires. So how do you determine something that you want, something that you need, something that you desire, and still somehow fulfill, the needs of like, I worked really hard. I deserve new shoes because they're cute and I want them. Setting a budget was a great place for us to start. I mean, I really needed to figure out how much money I was actually spending on the necessities of paying for the house and the utilities, car payments, insurance, and stuff. After we knew how much that was going to be, then we could determine how much money was left over and how far was that money going to go. One decision I made was that I would always pay myself first, which meant after, I paid all the big bills, I would put $10, $20, $30 maybe into a savings account? And have you ever noticed when you have like money in the savings account that like the universe comes along and is like, here's a flat tire? Yeah, me too. But then you kind of start to flip your mindset a little bit, and instead of being mad at the universe that you have money in your savings account and you have a flat tire, you start to find gratitude for the fact that you have money in your savings account to cover that flat tire. So one of my tricks for keeping money in the savings account is that I opened a savings account that wasn't at my bank. I opened a high interest savings account, and I have to transfer money in and out of it, and it can take a day or two to clear. And so what this does is it gives me, the inability to impulse do anything, because it takes 2 or 3 days to get the money like out of my savings account and back into my checking account. And that slows me down a little bit, gives me time to think, maybe come up with a different plan. So that's cool, right? I think I have impulse control at times. So having that little bit of a buffer sure has saved me a few dollars over the years. Right now, the current financial advice is that you have anywhere between 3 and 6 months of living expenses saved up. Yeah, like, how do you even start to do that, right? And how much money is that? That's where your budget, I guess, comes in. What are your actual living expenses? What are you going to do if you get fired from your job or even laid off? You could potentially collect unemployment, but that could take 6 weeks or more to come in. How are you going to survive until then? Most of us are living paycheck to paycheck. We are one catastrophe away from being out on our asses. Car breaks down, fall and break a leg. Somebody in the family gets sick and you need to travel and take time off from work. It's a lot to think about. Like, you want that safety and security, and you got to start building it now. The other thing is they say you need $1 million in the bank to retire. $1 million. It's like so much money, right? The amount of times that I've been around the sun, my age is kind of getting up there to be a really big number. I certainly do not have $1 million in the bank to retire. Not only that, I did myself a huge disservice by quitting a really great job and being self-employed. I'm not sorry for quitting my job or being self-employed. What I am sorry about is that I wasn't financially smarter in putting money away to save for retirement, because I was young and dumb and, I don't know, just didn't think about it, I guess. If anyone believes that Social Security is going to be able to take care of them and that you've worked your whole life and paid into Social Security, I encourage you to get onto the Social Security website, start yourself an account, and take a look at what your retirement actually looks like. It'll probably scare you a little bit. You've got to be able to make informed decisions, and knowing what your Social Security looks like is part of that information. I'm not here to try to scare you or anything. What I am here to tell you is that anything worth doing is worth doing. And if $5 a month or $10 a month is all you know how to save, it's a start. You gotta start somewhere. Everything builds momentum. The more you start to save, I think we start to realize other things maybe you can live without and cut back on. And do you really need the streaming subscription that has no commercials for the extra $3 a month? And it's easy to get caught up in this, well, it's only like $2 more, and oh, it's only like $5 more. And if you probably sat down and realized all the only $2 or $3 more that you add up throughout the month, that may be $50. And $50 into a savings account is more than 10. Another great tip someone gave me when it comes to all of these streaming services that start to add up: rotate. Cancel them. Run one for a couple of months. Binge watch everything. Turn it off. Switch to another one, you know? And then you're only paying one subscription at a time. They're there waiting. I mean, that's like the cool thing about it. They're right there waiting for you anytime you log in. So I don't know if we need all 5 of them all at the same time. Find a friend. Share an account with somebody. Do tradesies. You pay for Netflix, they pay for Hulu. You know, there's ways to work it out. So hopefully during my walk today, maybe I've inspired you to sit down and take a look at your budget a little bit, figure out how to stash a little bit of money away so that you too can take a vacation. Vacations don't have to be expensive. I vacation once a year on about $2,000, sometimes less. I hope that maybe after watching this video, you will sit down and just take a little look at your finances. Make yourself out a little budget. Get a real understanding of where your money's going. You can do it yourself. You can download an app. You can use artificial intelligence. There's all kinds of ways that are out there, you know. Grab 3 months worth of bank account statements. How much money are you really spending on eating out? How much are you spending on gas, driving around? You know, really kind of get an idea. Find out where your leaks are, you know. Where am I spending $5 here and $10 there? And add up all those 5, 10, it's only $20. How much of that are you spending a month? I think easily, it's really easy to spend $1,000 sometimes at $20 a swap, you know? And $20 doesn't feel like much, you know, especially in today's economy, right? What's $20? But adds up really fast. Go forth and prosper. If you want help, message me. If you want help, call me. I'm down to help. I want to see everybody get themselves in a place where they have more security in their life. And I think your finances is a really good place to start. So, good luck.